your thoughts upon hearing that you would be suspended for one game before that?
Disappointed for sure. I was more so disappointed about missing the game. Definitely one of those things where you never want to let your team down. It's something I feel like I did. When it comes to the punishment, it's just, I made a mistake. So for me, something that I probably won't challenge in a sense, especially the fact that it's a female referee too. It's not something that we want our players to be doing in the league. So no matter if it was inadvertent or not, I got to be better. I got to be more mindful. Got to be more conscious of my surroundings, and more conscious of my mental state, and not let anything affect me during the game.
Mark Davis said after the game that it was intentional.
No.
The way he saw it.
No. Never that.
So what happened in that moment? Just kind of take us through.
Yeah, it was probably a succession of calls that I disagreed with, and then after the moving screen call, I just kind of was questioning. So I think there's a little bit of emotion in the moment. And then that next play was directly afterwards when I took the charge, which I feel like if it was a bang-bang play, you probably could go either way with it. Probably looks like more like a charge to my eyes. And then it was called a block, and I looked up, and I saw a block, and I just kind of got up and tried to run off, like this in disagreement. And then I look up, and I was like, oh crap, I'm about to make contact. So I literally, you see in the video, I tried to avoid it, and that's when my glute hit her hip. And that's why I want to make contact. It's one of those things like similar to the game prior, Vucevic, when he tried to throw the ball down and Natalie was under him, but she ducked. So it's like things like that in position, like you're just kind of emotion-wise, you're going. And like I definitely nowhere near intentional, nowhere near anything of that nature.
Grant, your emotions fuel you. You're that kind of a player, we know. Sometimes these kind of things happen. How can you use your emotion for good in these cases?
Yeah, I have to be more positive in a sense. Just understanding of the moment, especially. Down in the fourth quarter like that, you don't need to add on to the game that we weren't having a good game in anyway. So I think it was a little bit of youth in mind. I have to be better in a sense of just being more mature and understanding that your emotion is good is what makes you so great of a player. It's just a matter of channeling that and using it in a better direction. And using that, whether that's directing it towards your teammates, making sure everybody's engaged and motivated, directing it towards yourself if you're not having a great game yourself. So I feel like that's the next step in development.
When you're frustrated with calls, how much can that kind of distract you from the game? Do you feel that with yourself sometimes in this team that can kind of take you out of a game? And how tough is it to not show your frustration on those?
Yeah, so normally I feel like calls don't distract me. For that possession, I talk to everyone. I'm a talker. Sometimes I just want to be heard. So sometimes it's less so I'm disagreeing with a call. I'm just communicating. And most referees know that, and that's the relationship that we've built throughout the years. They're comfortable. That's why they let me go all the time. And known to be that type of player. But in the moments where I am becoming absorbed, it's more so like I have to be more absorbed in the game itself and not absorbed in what's going on around me. Not letting extrinsic things affect my mental. Not letting things that I'm doing myself affect the mental, because being more positive and understanding, just taking a moment, just take a step back and take a deep breath, that helps a lot. That helps any player. Any player that plays with passion and emotion knows that. And there's so much love for the game, you just kind of get overwhelmed sometimes. So for me, I just have to understand how and when. I'm not saying that won't happen again, in the sense of like my emotions taking the best. So it's just a matter of not letting that become a recurring thing and making sure that it's rare and not something that's natural.
I know your interactions with officials, it's not always complaining or showing that frustration. You talk before games, probably go back and forth in games. How have you kind of learned to best interact with them?
Yeah, every official is different. That's the biggest thing about respecting the game. You have to take just as much notice as you do in your teammates as the people that you're going to see every single day. These same officials are going to be refereeing every single game we have all the way up to the finals. So not knowing their names, not knowing how to respect them, what they prefer, that's something that I've tried to learn throughout the years, and just understanding each official and what they are, how they are, and how their emotions, how they react to certain things, how comfortable they are in moments of like tight and situations. And so that's something that I've tried to do a better job of, understanding like some of the more veteran officials, you have to be more respectful, kind of approach them in a soft way versus kind of being aggressive and direct. Others, you kind of have to have that kind of confrontation because they don't take it personally. They're passionate of the game, they're just as competitive guys as we are. Others, you might just have to not say a word at all because you don't want to rile them up. So that's something you learn year over year. Something that I feel like, same with players. Players, as much as we have to learn the referees have to learn the players. Sometimes, like for example, when the next rookie comes in, he won't know anyone, so he's just going to be himself. So sometimes I think that's what we have to do a better job of as a league, and just understanding that each player is going to be different in ways of how they communicate each player uses different verbiage. Each player uses different hand signals, motions of how they feel disagreements. Same with officials, and some officials may call something that others won't. So just understanding consistency and making sure that the things that are understood and respected, the things that are wanted in the league, we communicate, and things that are unwanted, we communicate as well.
Did you reach out to the official at all?
I'm not allowed to. I definitely would have, but I texted throughout the chain and just apologized and tried my best to make sure that they know it wasn't personal. It's one of those things that your emotion kind of gets you in a moment, and there was no intent in the matter at all.
So is there a rule disallowing you from speaking?
Yeah, there's no players can't communicate with officials off the court.
So when you say you did it through the chain, how did you go about that?
So there's these liaisons between the NBA and the players, and as well as NBA through the union. So just text through that and just make sure the message is heard. Whether that's communicated, I don't know. I don't know how that gets trickled down the chain, but did my part and did my best to understand that.
Is there a fear that, for lack of a better term, that this will impact your relationship with officials?
I don't believe so. I hope that one moment doesn't dictate 3 years of communication and respect. So that's I've never thought of that as being a thing, nor do I think of that moving forward. For me, I'm gonna try and do a better job, just probably not communicating as much, just to understand that the game is more important than anything else. If I'm off the court, then yeah, I'll be respectful and communicate more, but I try my best to hold my tongue as much as I can.
How's this process been for you over the past couple of days, knowing that this suspension might come and reflecting on it?
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing for me, because I've never been ejected in my life, never been suspended in my life, not even ISS or OSS, So something that for me is kind of unique and kind of rare, and then you take a step back. In the moment you kind of live it, you're like, why am I suspended, everything else? But then you realize it's for the betterment of the league, it's for the betterment of yourself, for the betterment of everyone around you. So for me, I just got to take ownership of that, make sure I take that on the head myself and move on with the right mentality moving forward.
Presented by your New England Ford dealers. Built for America. Built Ford proud.